The Week 7 review episode of the Bears Talk Underground is brought to you by MyBookie. You know, yesterday may not have gone the way that we would have liked, Bear fans, but if you're a Patriots fan and you bet on your team, I hope you went to MyBookie. Remember, who you're betting on is just as important as who you are betting with, and that's why I always tell everyone to go to MyBookie. They are your best bet. They've been in business for years, have great reviews online, and their mobile site is so easy to use, and that's why I'm urging you to make your way over to MyBookie. You win, and they pay. They have the in-game live betting, over-unders on fantasy points, and hopefully you had the Patriots defense/special teams unit yesterday, and the most rewarding player perks in the business. And MyBookie has an offer that they want everyone to take advantage of. If you're willing to make a deposit after 7 p.m. Eastern, they'll give you an additional $25 in free play on deposits over $100, and they will match your deposit up to $1,000, dollar for dollar. So remember the promo code BEARS25 to activate the offer, and go to MyBookie. That's MyBookie, MyBookie, and don't forget to use the promo code Bears25 when creating your account to claim up to $1,000 in free play. So it's up to you guys. Go to MyBookie. You play, you win, you get paid. This week on the Bears Talk Underground, due to a disappointing showing after the bye last week down in Miami, the Bears had the task of bouncing back and the even bigger task of having to do it against the New England Patriots in front of the home crowd at Soldier Field on Sunday. How did the Bears answer for last week's uneven performance, and was it the answer Bear fans were looking for? All of this plus Bear Up and Bear Down on the Week 7 review episode of the Bears Talk Underground.
Hang up the telephone, I hear the dial tone, ringing out loud.
So week number 7 turned out to be an unlucky one for our beloved as we come up short against the New England Patriots. We lose our second straight. We are 0-2 in the second quarter of the season and 0-2 against the AFC East. Did I get it all in? What's going on, everybody? Larry D back for the Week 7 review episode of the Bears Talk Underground. And yesterday did not go our way. That funny feeling I had in my gut must have been indigestion or something, because my funny feeling did not come to fruition. And it was... I mentioned in the open, how did the Bears bounce back from their uneven performance in Miami? Well, we backed it up with an uneven performance against the New England Patriots. I mean, we just couldn't, there was no real consistency with either side of the football. And then we got the special teams involved. So for the second week in a row, all three facets of the football team kind of let us down at one point or another throughout the football game. You had Mitch, who statistically didn't have a very bad game, but you have to sit down and watch the tape to see that this was one of his worst performances as a professional. We couldn't run the ball on a consistent basis, but don't look at the stat sheet, because the 81 or 82 yards that Mitch had would have you believe the New England Patriots gave up over 130 yards on the ground yesterday. If you look at the stat sheet, you wonder how we lost. We had more first downs. We were pretty even on time of possession. We had fewer turnovers. We had more yards on offense, and we had better third down conversion percentage, and somehow we lost the game. And it's real simple. The easiest answer would be special teams. We gave up the 95-yard kickoff return to Cordero Patterson, and then the block punt in the second half that the Patriots ran back for a touchdown. That's 14 points that the special teams unit gave up, or that our special teams units gave up. Two different teams did that yesterday. And there's the difference in your ball game. You erase those 14 points. The Bears were the 7-point victors, not the Patriots on Sunday. So, I mean, it's one of those things where, when you play a team like New England, you can't make mistakes. Or in this case, you can't make a lot of them, because the Bears made a ton of mistakes. The Bears made plenty of mistakes yesterday, but they just made, let's just say, to be on on the safe side, let's say we made too many yesterday, and those would be the special teams mistakes. Mitch got away with a couple of interceptions yesterday, including a couple that were dropped by the Patriots. He threw 2 interceptions yesterday. He really should have had about 4. And, it just it was a mixture of game plan and just missing the opportunities when they were there. Once again, Mitch missed a couple of wide open receivers. The Bears seem to really love that play where we send Anthony Miller down the seam, down the middle of the field, and I'll be damned if he wasn't open for it yesterday, but Mitch put too much on it. And, unfortunately, Anthony Miller doesn't have fingers that are 14 inches long, so his hand wasn't quite big enough to reach the football. It just touched him in the fingertips as it sailed over his head in the back of the end zone yesterday. And that wasn't the only throw like that. In fact, one of the interceptions that Mitch threw, actually both of the interceptions that he threw yesterday were actually really, really good defensive plays by the Patriot DBs. The first one was a toss to Josh Bellamy, and by all rights, it was actually a really good throw on Mitch Trubisky's part. I mean, he lasered that ball in there to Josh Bellamy, but it I don't want to say that. I mean, I don't know if it bounced off of Bellamy or if the DB just went in there and just ripped it out of Bellamy's hands, because he came down with the ball. When Bellamy and the defender went to the ground, the defender had the football in his right arm. And the second one was a combination. The second one was definitely Mitch Trubisky's fault, and the guy made a decent play at the same time because again, we've got Miller wide open on a somewhat of a post corner route. If Trubisky puts the right amount of mustard on it, gets it over the DB's head, it goes right into Miller's hands. He probably walks into the end zone standing, but instead he didn't put enough on it. He underthrew the ball, and the DB still had to jump up and make a good one-handed catch to come down with the throw. So I mean, both interceptions were really good defensive plays. The first one I say is a 100% good defensive play because from my perspective, the way that I saw it, he went in there and he stole the ball away from Bellamy, just kind of ripped it out of his hands because the ball was perfectly thrown as far as what Mitch was trying to do, and he was trying to make it so as Bellamy was the only guy that could get it. He threw it down, towards the ground. Bellamy had to go down and get it, and the guy just kind of ripped it out of Bellamy's hands. The second one was a combination good play / bad throw, and Mitch has really got to improve upon that, man. That's happened too many times this year. You can only use the young quarterback who's learning the system or learning the game or playing at the NFL level. That excuse only works for so long, man. I mean, I know we're only 6 games into your second season, but when the same thing keeps happening over and over again, it doesn't look like progress. It doesn't look like you're learning. It doesn't look like you're improving. So I mean, that's what was disappointing about the game yesterday. So watching those things happen, and again, getting after the Patriots, getting some early breaks on the Patriots, taking advantage of those breaks, only to watch our own mistakes undo our advantages. So I mean, as you hear in these in the knee-jerk reactions, the first quarter the first quarter was okay. We had a field goal lead after one, and the second quarter was exciting, but it didn't go our way. And then the third quarter, the fourth quarter, so on and so forth. So I mean, it was an up and down game. And the funny thing is, here's the silver lining, kids. All the mistakes that were made yesterday, the 2 special teams errors, and everything in between. Mitch's poor day, the defense once again. I mean, I think we got a couple of sacks this time, but Khalil Mack, Leonard Floyd, complete non-factors in it. In fact, they were dropping in coverage a hell of a lot more than they were actually rushing the quarterback. Couldn't quite wrap my mind around that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But, I mean, everything that didn't work yesterday, and still we were literally about a foot or so of Kevin White making a miracle play. He made an amazing catch on the Hail Mary and just couldn't get the ball across the goal line. We were that close to sending this thing to overtime and having a chance to win it. in overtime, or hell, maybe Nagy nuts up and he says, let's go for it. Let's try to win this game. I don't want to give Tom Brady the chance to beat me in overtime, so let's go for it, and we either win or we lose. We were that close to sending this thing into overtime, or actually going for two to try to win the damn thing. So as upset as I am and disappointed as I am with the team losing and coming up short, a lot more. It's like all credit, to the Patriots, because they are that kind of team. They will take advantage of every mistake that you make, and we just made too many mistakes yesterday. And when you play the Patriots, you can't do that. If we don't make one of those mistakes yesterday, it's a different football game. We might be having a different conversation right now. So, but from the beginning, it was competitive. We hung with them and we battled back. And on the last play of the game, we almost shocked the world. So, I mean, it was a roller coaster ride. It was difficult to watch at times, but it was exciting, and I got my wish. If we had to lose to the Patriots, I wanted to at least be in it. I wanted it to be exciting, and it was.
Knee-jerk reaction, the first quarter of the Bears and the Patriots, and it didn't start well, and it kind of didn't end well on the last play there, but in between, the Bears seemed to take control of the game. But the opening drive for the Patriots just looked like more of the same against Miami, with New England doing whatever they want. Their first, I think, 3 or 4 plays were for 10-plus yards and first downs, finished off with the Bears missing 3 tackles on a Julian Edelman touchdown catch. We come right down, and we get a field goal off of the first drive, and then the fireworks. Nick Kwiatkowski on the kickoff knocks the ball out of Cordero Patterson's hands directly into the arms, like pops right up in the air into the hands. DeAndre Houston-Carson. A few plays later, Mitch Trubisky scrambling all over the field, literally from one end to the other on an 8-yard touchdown run, puts the Bears up 10-7, and that's where we sit right now. Last play of the first quarter, the Patriots got a big pass play to Josh Gordon to get them out of the deepness of their own territory. So they're near midfield right now. It's 10-7. The Bears are ahead. We'll see if we can't continue to hang on to this and bottle up the Patriots like we did on that second drive there. So kind of a 50-50 first quarter. We'll see how the rest of it goes.
You got a real funny feeling after watching that first drive from New England. I mean, I just go back to what I was talking about in the preview episode, was that, you know what, you want to get off to a fast start against New England, and that's more so to get the crowd involved. The crowd's going to be hyped up because, we're trying to make a name for ourselves, and what better way than to do it against the New England Patriots, a Tom Brady in town. You come out there and this defense looking to redeem itself after the performance it gave last week in Miami and everything. And in the first drive, Brady and company get the football, and I do think it was about the first 4 plays, if not at least the first 3, were for 10-plus yards. I think the first play was 18, the second one was 13, the third one was 16. But, just like that, 3 plays, 3 first downs, or maybe it was even 4 plays and 4 first downs. But the way that they just rammed it down the Bears' throats and just walked right into the end zone, you get a feeling, you start having flashbacks of the last handful of games we've played against New England, where they just made it look pitifully easy, like they could see us coming from a mile away, and then we were just going to be chasing them from behind the entire football game. And then when we got on offense, first of all, it was frustrating to watch because Mitch was not throwing the ball well. Nagy, God bless him, keeps coming to Mitch's defense and saying that, going back, he's like, I'll see a lot of things on film that you guys won't see, or that we won't notice or know what to look for and stuff. There's a lot more going on than we know about, pre-snap, checks, audibles, that kind of thing. So, I mean, obviously Nagy knows what he's looking for, so that's a legitimate thing that he can claim. However, to the naked eye, to the layman just sitting there and watching it, Mitch was off target, or he was making throws he shouldn't have been making, and all the rest of that kind of stuff. But we somehow managed to get the football down the field and put 10 points on the board, with Mitch being the most exciting aspect of the offense with that running touchdown. My favorite part of which was Cody Whitehair shot putting one of the defensive backs into the first row of the stands. You know, when he turns around and gives Mitch the come hither, you know, like follow me gesture, running up the field, and I think it was like number 21 or something. It just launched him into the back of the end zone as Mitch goes into the end zone untouched as he scrambled his way. I think they said he covered like 70 yards to make an 8-yard touchdown run on that one, and that's what put the Bears up 10-7. And you're thinking, okay, the crowd's into this. We've got some momentum. You know, we shut Brady down on that last drive. Maybe we're onto something here. And then the Patriots get the ball back, and immediately they launch the ball down the field, and next thing you know, they're in Bear territory, and here we go again. You know, instead, when the second quarter got started, it was all Bears. I mean, Bilal Nichols, gotta love that kid, man. He is playing fantastic football. Makes a tackle, gets a fumble recovery, takes Sony Michel out for the game and everything, severely limiting, you know, what you would think they'd be able to do in the ground game. And the Bears took advantage, and they went up 17-7. And then that's where things started to go sideways, and the first of the Bears' really big mistakes happened just after that.
Knee-jerk reaction, the Bears and the Patriots in the second quarter, and it was a wild one. Basically, after the Bears spotted New England a 7-0 lead, they went 17 straight points based on 2 New England turnovers. First, the one in the first quarter, the Cordero Patterson fumble the Bears turned into a touchdown. Then a fumble from Sony Michel from Bilal Nichols making the tackle and the fumble recovery. The Bears take it in from there on a Jordan Howard run, thanks to about 1 million different chances from the Patriots, with penalties giving the Bears more and more opportunities, almost like the Bears were refusing to score, but New England kept giving us chances to do so, and we finally did. And after taking a 17-7 lead, the Bears make a critical mistake on special teams. Cordero Patterson takes it back 95 yards for a touchdown to narrow the gap from 17-14. After the Bears, Trubisky has been awful, absolutely awful in this first half. I think he's like 5 of 17 or something like that. It is pitiful. A lot of bad decisions, balls sailing over receivers' heads. He's terrible again. Hopefully we get second half Mitch that we got against Miami when he was bad against the Dolphins in the first half and then awesome in the second. Number one, that needs to stop being a pattern. And number two, hopefully that does happen. But, you know, the Patriots took the lead because Trubisky's been terrible today, 21-17, and that's where we sit right now. We do start the second half with the football, and this game will be won right now. In halftime, second half adjustments, what can the Bears figure out and fix what they've been doing wrong in the first half, and hopefully they come out on top.
That Cordero Patterson return, that really was a killer for the Bears. I mean, like I said, we just finished scoring 17 unanswered. We got the Patriots to turn the football over, to make some mistakes they are not characteristic of making, and we took advantage of them. We put both of those mistakes in the end zone. You know, 2 touchdowns off of those turnovers, and you know, we're up 17-7. We've got a 2-score lead on the New England Patriots, who've won 4 straight, just beat the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, and we're taking them to the woodshed. You know, we took their running back out, we got the football, we took it on a short field, put it in the end zone, boom, we're up 17-7. Soldier Field is on fleek, you know, or whatever. And here come the Bears, and then just like that, 95 yards later, and it's a 3-point ball game, and it's anybody's game. All of a sudden, the Patriots are right back in it after we basically took the wind out of their sails by knocking out their running back, getting the turnover, putting it in the end, not a field goal, putting it in the end zone. We got 17 points unanswered, and you're in our house kind of thing. And then just like that, the Patriots are back in this thing. They've got a fighting chance. Once again, they took the momentum back on one play. And what was really bad about it is, granted, Cordero Patterson is one of the best kick returners in football, no doubt. Everywhere he's been, Minnesota, Oakland, New England, he's done this. He did it to us when he was in Minnesota, for Pete's sake. But, you know, all the credit goes to him, but he only had to make one guy miss on the whole thing. And I know that we as Bear fans were horribly spoiled for many, many years with Devin Hester as our returner, and all he ever did at times was make one guy miss. But, the Bears set themselves up for disaster on that play. And what happened was they, for some reason, decided to close off the near sideline. The kick went to the right-handed hash, so they're on the far right side of the field. That's where Patterson was going, so that's where almost everybody on the special teams unit went. The kickoff team went, and the Patriots special team, or the kickoff return team, opened a gap, a little seam right up the middle, and there was only one person standing in it, and it was Kevin Tolliver, who missed the tackle, and then all Patterson had to do was outrun Cody Parkey, which did not prove to be a problem for him whatsoever. It's like we overloaded to that far right side near the sideline, and like I said, all he had to do was make one guy miss. He goes through that hole, he makes one guy miss, and boom, he's off to the races. And the next thing you know, it's a 3-point ball game, and the Patriots didn't really even have to earn it. And it just kind of fell apart from there, at least in the first half. Anyway, the next drive, Brady and company get it back. They drive the ball back down the field and retake the lead 21-17 in the half. And, it was frustrating watching the defense get picked apart again. And what was even more frustrating is that they weren't necessarily doing what Miami did a week ago with Brock Osweiler, which is they made a concerted effort to get the ball out of Osweiler's hands as quickly as possible. They didn't want that offensive line having to block our pass rush for more than 3 seconds if they could help it. And Brady, on the other hand, was standing back there seemingly all day long. And our pass rush, our pass rushers, for starters, Floyd and Mack, spent a lot of time dropping into coverage, which is the last thing you want to see Floyd and Mack doing. As special a player as Khalil Mack is, that's probably the what he does the worst, is drop into coverage. You want him getting after Tom Brady. And the biggest problem that I had with Khalil Mack, aside from his ineffectiveness, was probably not even his fault, which was where they were lining him up. They had him lining up on the left tackle, Trent Brown, the entire game, when we've watched Khalil Mack for the last 5 weeks line up over the right tackle. And when the news hit the headlines on Sunday, it looked like the Bears were a shoo-in for victory. Tom Brady's favorite weapon, Rob Gronkowski, did not make the trip to Chicago. He hurt his back in practice on Friday, and he wasn't going to play on Sunday. Well, that's great. Then this big bastard isn't going to dice us up all day and all night. On Sunday, Brady's going to have to find somebody else to throw the football to, which he had no problem doing, by the way. Also, when you heard us talk about it with Alex Shane last week in the preview, was of all the injuries to watch on the injured list, the one that you really want to pay attention to is Marcus Cannon, the right tackle, because he was in concussion protocol. He was limited, that kind of thing, and if he doesn't play, then this kid Waddle was going to be the right tackle, and that was the one thing that made him nervous, was that guy having to line up across from Khalil Mack the entire football game. And for one reason or another, I don't think it ever happened throughout the entire game. Khalil Mack, who usually rushes over the right tackle, I don't think I saw him line up over the right tackle once. And that's the matchup that we wanted, was we wanted the backup trying to stop the All-Pro. We wanted the backup trying to get in front of the the former defensive player of the year. We wanted that matchup. We never took advantage of it. And that was the most frustrating part about watching the defense, was that we didn't do anything that we should have been doing yesterday, in my opinion. And I know I've watched Brady play for many years now, that if you blitz him, Brady's good enough, he will make you pay for it. But the funny thing was, the few times that we did blitz were the only times we got pressure on Brady, and were only the only times that we ever really sacked. We sacked him twice on Sunday, and both times, like, Roquan Smith was in there, but he opened the lanes up for Bilal Nichols and things like that. It was just it seemed like whenever we blitzed, we had some kind of success, and we did it very rarely, and it was just tough to watch, man. You're sitting there scratching your head like, what are we doing? Because we're rushing 3 and dropping 8 into coverage, and Brady is still picking us apart. How about we just go? I mean, I would much rather get smoked while we're blitzing than sit back there and with 8-man in coverage and still have Brady, with all the time in the world, find ways to carve us up, which is exactly what he did. If Osweiler was sitting back in the pocket last week the way that Brady was yesterday, I'm sure that we would have managed to get after Brock Osweiler a bit more than we were able to last Sunday. I mean, Brady had all day and forever to throw the football yesterday, and Edelman and Hogan and Josh Gordon were out there making plays, and it just one after another, just one long play after another, and they were always wide open, which is what bothered me the most. It's like we're rushing 3, maybe 4 at the most, so we're dropping 7 into coverage just about every single play, and Brady keeps finding these wide open spots in the zone and killing us every single time. Throw the goddamn kitchen sink at him, see if we can't make something happen. And like I said, I would much rather get smoked trying to make something happen on defense, going for the blitz, trying to get after Brady, than to sit there and just wait for him to pick us apart, which is exactly what he did. That's what was most frustrating for me. So we move on to the third quarter, and there's light at the end of the tunnel because the Bears start off strong, but then other things start going sideways on us again.
Knee-jerk reaction, the third quarter, the Bears and the Patriots, and the Bears are doing it to themselves. We take the opening drive down the field, an amazing run from Trubisky gets us down to the 2-yard line. We punch it in a few plays later to take the lead. No. To tie 21? What do we do? No, we took the lead, 24-21. Give a field goal to New England, so it's tied at 24. And then on the next Bear drive, Pat O'Donnell, who for some reason needs 6 steps to kick the ball today, gets a punt block. The Patriots came close to doing it a couple of times before today. They finally nailed it, picked it up, scooped it in, had a 6-man convoy run it into the end zone to take a 31-24 lead. That's 14 special teams points the Patriots have right now. Otherwise, the Bears are winning this game. So it's self-inflicted wounds so far today. We have the football right now, and as we start the fourth quarter, we'll be going away from the sun, or actually it will be going into the sun, but it won't be affecting the receivers who are, when they turn back to look, the sun won't be in their eyes anymore. When we turn back to look for the ball, we'll be able to actually see the ball now. Josh Bellamy lost what could have been a huge play in the air when the sun got in his eyes while the ball was up in the sky. So hopefully that will be a factor that affects New England going forward in the fourth quarter. But we're only down 7. We have the football. We are driving. We'll see how it goes from here.
And the fourth quarter was more of the same. The Patriots kind of put their foot down. They expanded their lead to 14, and then they played prevent defense and allowed Mitch to run up his stats, which had him finishing with 333 yards, so his third straight 300-yard game. And, it was fun to see the Bears move it down the field. Trey Burton had an awesome game. He was fantastic yesterday. 9 catches, 126 yards, and a touchdown, which he scored the final points for the Bears, making it 38-31 with about 3.5 minutes to go in the game. But the Bears couldn't stop the Patriots in time. We eventually did slow them down and get the football back, but we only had about 22 seconds and no timeouts to try to get the football down the field. And you kind of wondered what the Bears were doing, because they were doing these kind of like dink and dunk things, chipping away at we had one big play to Burton that got us a lot closer to midfield, and he caught the ball with about 19 seconds, and it took us 10 seconds to get to the line of scrimmage and spike the ball, and then 2 more plays to get us a little bit closer, and then we go for the Hail Mary, and I'll be damned if it almost didn't work.
Knee-jerk reaction, the Bears and the Patriots. Oh, so close. And we lost 38-31. It was a game of self-inflicted wounds. Really, the Patriots didn't do much of anything to beat the Bears that we didn't do to ourselves. Trubisky was horrible for most of the football game. If it wasn't throwing to Trey Burton, he was sailing it over your head or trying to force it to somebody who shouldn't be getting the football. 2 turnovers by Trubisky, 2 interceptions in the second half, killed promising drives. What was going to be a touchdown pass to Anthony Miller was another underthrown ball intercepted by the Patriots. That would have tied the game at 31 at one point. Basically, we were terrible today, and we gave up the points on special teams that ended up making the difference. But despite all that, Trubisky on the Hail Mary, we're down 38-31. Hail Mary down the field, Kevin White making only his second catch of the season. Catches it at the goal line, but gets swallowed up by the Patriot defenders and can't get it in. So we come up short and don't get to send it to overtime. So we lost 38-31. We were supposed to lose, but we should have won.
It was those last 2 drives, the Trey Burton touchdown drive that got us within a score, and the final drive there. I mean, that pass to Kevin White was a 55-yard reception, 54-yard reception. He got stopped just short of the goal line. You heard me say at the knee-jerk reaction, oh, so close. They were showing the replay of basically the goal line shot and how close Kevin White was to actually breaking the plane and sending this thing into overtime or maybe a 2-point play. Nagy was being kind of coy with the media after the game, like he didn't want to say what he was thinking about doing there. He's like, I know what I was going to do, or I think I know what I wanted to do, but I don't want to get into it. Why? I mean, the game's already over. What competitive advantage would it give somebody else to hear you say that you would have gone for 2 to beat the Patriots? Where's that? Is, who cares? Anyway, but Kevin White. I mean, I'm looking at the stats right now, actually, and it's littered with Trubisky was 26 of 50 yesterday, and so I mean, just a shade over 50%. I think 52 to be exact. But Trey Burton was his favorite receiver yesterday. 11 targets for 9 catches, 126 yards, and a touchdown. Tariq Cohen, 8 catches, 12 targets, so 4 missed targets there. Anthony Miller, only 2 catches on 7 targets. Allen Robinson, 1 catch on 5 targets. Josh Bellamy, 0 catches on 4 targets. So, I mean, there's a ton of missed opportunities there. And that throw to Bellamy where the sun got in his eyes, really had a good chance of being a big play for us. But, A, Bellamy lost it in the sun, and B, Mitch kind of just heaved it up there. If the defender doesn't lose it in the sun, he very well could have picked that one off and ran it back. So, the stats, would make you believe one kind of thing. Matt and Nagy will have you believe another, that Mitch actually played a really good game, according to Nagy and what he knows based on all the little factors that you and I aren't privy to. The pre-snap reads and changes, the audibles, so on and so forth. He was pleased with Mitch's performance, or so he was saying to the media today after having had a chance to sit down and watch the film. So, I believe that our coach is not blowing smoke, but at the same time, as a fan sitting back, I don't think any Bear fan is pleased with what we saw out of Mitch yesterday for the majority of the football game. And, it was so frustrating to watch yesterday, knowing that if only for a couple of mistakes not going against us, this could have been a victory for us. 2 special teams plays, and the Bears are usually, or at least lately anyway, this season anyway, we've been very good on special teams. At least in the kicking game, as far as the kickoffs and punts and stuff like that. People don't get off big returns against the Bears, and then I mean, and when it happened, it was kind of a dagger, in the heart kind of thing. We had this momentum, this 17-point, unanswered point swing that we had going on here, and boom, now it's a 3-point ball game, and the Patriots are right back in it, and it sucked the air right out of Soldier Field for the rest of the first half. So, it's frustrating to watch. You hate to keep saying things like, if not for a handful of plays, we could be 6-0 right now. If Kyle Fuller makes an interception against Rodgers, we're 1-0. If Parkey makes that field goal in overtime, boom, we're 5-0 at that point. And then, if the Bears don't botch this thing on special teams, we could be standing at 6-0 right now. But shoulda, coulda, woulda. If Arizona makes a couple of plays, maybe we don't win out there and we're 2-4 instead of 3-3, that kind of thing. So, you can play the what if game or shoulda, coulda, woulda all day long, and you'll drive yourself crazy thinking like that over and over again. As much truth as there may be in it, the Bears could have very easily been a 5-0 team going into that Patriot game yesterday, but we weren't. And after the way we played yesterday, I wouldn't say that I don't think New England deserved to win any more than we did yesterday. But if you had to vote, I would have voted on New England being the team that deserved to win. They didn't make the major mistakes that the Bears made, or at least they didn't make them in the critical positions that the Bears did. There was something very different about the turnovers that went against New England and the mistakes that went against the Bears yesterday. There was just something different about them and how they affected the outcome of the game. So it was frustrating to watch, to know that, this was a game where we couldn't make a lot of mistakes. And even though we did make a lot of mistakes, we made a few too many. If we cut down on the mistakes, we're a better football team. We're in a better standing where we win more games up to this point. But, as I was saying before, it's still encouraging to know that we made the mistakes that we did, and we still had a chance at the end. Usually in the past, when the Bears rattle off the mistakes the way that they did yesterday, in the frequency in which they did at times, those are games that have laughable outcomes. Those are the ones where we do lose 51-14 or whatever it was the last time we played New England. Those are the ones where we have those laughable outcomes. You don't even want to watch the highlights. I mean, there were times, for those of you who remember the 2014 season, which is the last time that we played New England, there were review episodes that were it was the knee-jerk reactions, and that's it, because I couldn't make myself do a review show. I mean, we had those back-to-back 50-point losses to Green Bay and New England. I think I went on a streak for a couple of weeks there where I didn't actually do a review show just because it was embarrassing. I mean, who the hell wants to talk about that? It's like, who wants to sit and talk about how we lost 55-14, gave up 6 touchdown passes to Aaron Rodgers in one half, and then the following week we go out and I think we're down like 30-3 or something at halftime to the Patriots. It's like, we don't even belong in the same league with these teams. That our football team is falling apart, and people were looking forward to this season. It's ridiculous. And this time around, it's a much more interesting team. It's we're 3-3. It's exciting, and it's if you want to be a glass half full kind of person, it's encouraging that we could still survive and still have a chance to win. We're good enough to hang with these guys. And God forbid we don't make it. We don't make a couple of mistakes yesterday, or if you erase those special teams plays, we probably win yesterday. And that's how close it is, and that's how close we are, and that's what's encouraging. The discouraging thing is that I don't think we're going to be able to benefit from it until next season, but I've been saying that all along. Obviously, we want to win now. I don't want to watch the Bears struggle through another season. But I do like where this is going. I do still think the arrow is pointing up. We got 2 very winnable games coming up now with the Jets next Sunday and then the Bills after that. Then we really got to man up because we got 3 straight division games in a very short period of time. We got Detroit, Minnesota, Detroit inside of 11 days because we're playing Detroit one Sunday, the Vikings the next Sunday, and then Detroit on Thanksgiving right after that. So it's critical that we're 5-3 after when this little second quarter against the AFC East ends. We need to have a 500 split with that division by beating the Jets and the Bills these next 2 weeks, and then we head into division play where things get really interesting for the Bears. So I choose to be glass half full. I think the defense can bounce back, and I think we can right the ship. We may not get to where we want to go this season, but I think we're headed in the right direction. I really do honestly believe that. So take that for what you will. So that's going to do it for the Week 7 review. What do you say we wrap this thing up with everybody's favorite segment, Bear Up, Bear Down? MyBookie is the where, Bears 25 is the what, and $25 in free play for deposits over $100 is the why if you make that deposit after 7 p.m. Eastern. And also an additional why, they match your deposits dollar for dollar up to $1,000. So go to MyBookie, give them the promo code Bears25 for your free $25, and they match your deposit dollar for dollar for some of the best online betting in the industry. I mean, and it's not just football. We got basketball now. The World Series kicks off tomorrow. You got the NHL going on as well. College football, you name it, MyBookie has it. So go on over to MyBookie, MyBookie, and join with the promo code Bears25 and take advantage of that $25 if you make your deposit after 7 p.m. Eastern. MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid. And now we move on to our Bear Up and Bear Down, and should be rather easy here. And we'll go back and forth. How about we flip flop this time instead of doing all the Bear Up and all the Bear Downs and so on? Let's start off Bear Up to Trey Burton. 9 catches, 126 yards, and a touchdown. His best performance yet. I think I heard that, or I read, I should say, that was the most catches and most yards he's ever had in a football game. So outstanding. He was definitely, not only was he Mitch's favorite target, but his best target yesterday. Bear down, Mitch Trubisky. I mean, the stats would have you believe one thing: 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, but the 2 interceptions, and the fact that you were 1 completion better than missing on half of your attempts yesterday, and some of those throws were, like I said, sailing over their heads. You tried to force a throw into Bradley Sowell, of all people, in the corner of the end zone yesterday that was nearly picked off by a butterfingered linebacker, or that one goes sideways on you. So, yeah, just aside from the fact he was outstanding, like overall it was not a bad game for Mitch, with what he did, with the stats that he did put together and his amazing work on his feet. You would have to give him maybe like a C+ grade on the game, maybe just a solid C, I would say, but if not for his running, that would definitely be somewhere in the D to D- area. If we're going strictly as a passer, it was bad. It was not a good day whatsoever. I don't give a damn what Nagy says or what he sees on film that you and I don't see or aren't privy to. It didn't look good. As a fan, Trubisky did not have a good day yesterday, plain and simple. That's just all there is to it. So, hopefully we can get it together. I mean, we'll see how we handle the Jets. The Jets are supposed to be pretty good on defense from what I understand, so we'll see how that works out. Bear up, Bilal Nichols. For those of you who heard the crossover episode with myself and Lauren, I was on Locked On Bears a couple of weeks ago. He did his first quarter awards, and my rookie of the year up to this point, after the Tampa Bay game, was Bilal Nichols. He's, been on the field, and when he's been on the field, he's been an impact player. He's making plays. It's like we were, Lauren was like, well, we're probably going to go with Roquan Smith on this, right? It's like, not me. I'm going with Bilal Nichols. He's more of the impact player than Roquan Smith has been up to this point. It's like, I have no doubt that Roquan will be that guy someday, But up to this point, Bilal Nichols, he's the guy that's making plays and making himself known for sure. And as a matter of fact, I think he should be starting, ahead of Bullard and Roy Robertson Harris instead of rotating. And he's starting to get more plays than those guys are. But it's Bullard or Robertson Harris that gets the start along with Goldman and Hicks. And I think it should be Nichols. So hopefully yesterday's performance will help push that in the right direction, and that he's out there for the majority, and Bullard and Robinson Harris are giving him a breather and going in for a play or two, and then Bilal gets back out there, and I hope that's where it's headed. Bear down to Vic Fangio. Look, man, I know that Brady's one of the greatest ever, or at least that's what people keep saying. And, he doesn't get that by accident. He is an outstanding quarterback, and, he's a smart player, and he can see defenses blitzing. He does know where to go with the football to make you pay for that. But, dude, sitting back in coverage and letting him have all day to throw the football, when you're putting your best pass rushers into coverage along, God bless Akeem Hicks and Goldman and Bilal Nichols and Robertson Harris. They're decent pass rushers, but they're not Khalil Mack. They're not Leonard Floyd. That's what we got those guys on the team to do. We got them to rush the passer, and we just flat out didn't do that enough. And there was no, kind of screw it mentality from Fangio. It's like, how long were you going to sit there and let him pick us apart before you're like, you know what, the hell with it. I would much rather have him hit us with a big play and get burned on the blitz than sit there and wait for him to pick us apart like that. That's what was making me nuts. And lining up Khalil Mack over the left tackle instead of pushing him over to the right, the guy that's playing as, the backup that was coming in for the concussed Marcus Cannon. When I saw that Cannon wasn't playing, I was like, great, Khalil Mack, you should have a great chance to bounce back against this guy, this backup and everything. Send the house with Khalil Mack over there. And it never happened. I never saw him line up on that side. The whole time I'm sitting there watching, like, Mack is on the wrong side. He is on the wrong side. Now, I don't know how much of his ankle had to do with it, and maybe they had him on the right side because would be the left tackle, so the defensive right side, because they wanted him on Brady's blind side, or the right ankle is the healthy one, and that's the one you'd be pushing off of if you're coming from the right side or something like that. I don't know how much his injury came into play with that. But if we're thinking about pure matchups, you want Khalil Mack going up against Trent Brown. I think you got it backwards. You want Khalil Mack going against the backup, the guy that's not good enough to be starting but was forced into duty on Sunday. That's the one you want Khalil Mack going up against. Let Leonard Floyd deal with Trent Brown and what have you. I didn't like it at all. I did not like it at all. It's like I got de facto bear downs to Khalil Mack and Leonard Floyd for being grossly ineffective in and out of coverage yesterday, whether it be in with pass rushing or in coverage. Leonard Floyd got burned for a touchdown yesterday in pass coverage on James White, something he should not be doing, by the way. But they were ineffective once again, and we looked inept on defense, and they're just sitting back waiting for Brady to pick us apart. We're only sending 3 guys, maybe 4 at the most. And what was even more frustrating were the few times that we did blitz him, we did actually get him under pressure. We did make him force some mistakes and get some sacks on him. We just didn't do it enough. We should have been far more aggressive on defense than we were yesterday. We should have been way more aggressive, and I didn't agree with Vic Fangio's plan at all. I would much rather, like I said, as silly as it sounds, I would much rather get smoked on the Bears getting caught with their pants down while they're blitzing and Brady finding the hot receiver or something like that, than to sit there and just wait for him to find Julian Edelman wide open, because Julian Edelman's had 9 seconds to cross 3 different zones to get into the one that was open, and he's wide open when the ball gets there, kind of thing. That was so frustrating to watch yesterday. And then finally, I never thought I'd say this, but bear up to Kevin White. He only made 2 catches. They were the first 2 catches of the season, and he was damn near the hero yesterday in that football game, which ironically would have been his first real touchdown as a professional. We know he scored a touchdown in the dress rehearsal game against Kansas City in the preseason, but this is the one that actually follows you on the stat sheet and goes down as the real thing. He just went up and got the football and damn near got himself in the end zone, but it's like he turned around and there were like 3 Patriots right there. And unfortunately, Kevin White didn't have anybody behind him that could have given him a push to shove him into the end zone, man. You know, so maybe I want to give a bear down to the lineman. I know you had like 50 yards to cover, but as soon as the ball was in the air, man, you should have been running down there. You know, you should have been running down there and, you know, just in case, run in there and blast Kevin White from behind, break his other shoulder blade, and get him in the goddamn end zone so we can go to overtime. But, you know, an outstanding catch from Kevin White. It was nice to see him be able to make a play like that. And honestly, I hope it gets him on the field, you know, because if the reason I say that is that I know that Josh Bellamy is more so on the active day roster, more so because of his special teams than his receiving ability, but he's still ahead of Kevin White on the depth chart. And the only thing frustrating about that for me is that it's keeping Javon Wims on the inactive list. And after what we saw from him in the preseason, I'd much rather see Javon Wims on the field than Kevin White if Javon Wims is the guy that we're going to be investing our time in. So, I mean, I hope this performance is as miniature as it was, but impactful for Kevin White, maybe turn some heads to give him some more chances in the passing game. I mean, the only thing that got Kevin White on the field yesterday was Allen Robinson's groin injury flared up on him, so he didn't play much in the second half. So Kevin White was out there, and you know, I'm hoping that for him that it will we'll give him a chance to be out there a bit more and get some more chances. You know, we'll see what happens. Otherwise, you know, leave Kevin White out of it. Get Javon Wims in there and let's see what the kid can do. You know, I saw plenty from him in the preseason. I want to see more. And I get frustrated each week when I see Javon Wims' name on the inactive list. But Kevin White is on the active list but not playing. So, anyway, great catch yesterday, Kev. Too bad that you came up short. And then finally, a dual bear down to Pat O'Donnell and the special teams unit in general. Those 2 special teams killed us. That was the outcome of the football game. And, you know, Pat O'Donnell was dangerously close to getting a punt blocked earlier in the football game. There were 2 that the Patriots came really close to. And then in the third quarter, that's when Bren Broniker got himself steamrolled by Dante Hightower, got the punt blocked, and there was, like I said, a 6-man convoy ran into the end zone behind Kyle Van Noy untouched. There wasn't a bear in the neighborhood after the punt got blocked, and they ran it in for a touchdown. So bear down to the special teams unit, bear down to Pat O'Donnell. You'd think that you'd shorten up your steps after the Patriots seem to be getting there faster. You know, it's like I listened to the Locked On Bears podcast this morning at work, and Lauren was saying that the amount of time that Pat O'Donnell was taking is about just as far as from the time the ball reaches his hands to the time that he kicked the ball. Thank Pro Football Focus for that random stat there. But, you know, you would think that the way in which the quickness that the Patriots are getting there, that he would shorten up his steps to get the ball out of there faster. You know, that's what it required yesterday, and he didn't do that. He seemed like he took quite a few more steps than usual yesterday, and that's what got the punt blocked, and the next thing you know, it's a deficit that we can't recover from. So not happy about it. So there you have it, folks. Bear up, bear down for the week number 7 review, and that's going to do it for this episode. We will be back on Thursday with Michael Nania from Gang Green Nation to help us preview Bears Jets for week number 8. See if the Bears can't get back to their winning ways. See if we can't pick apart this rookie Sam Darnold and get ourselves back in the win column. So come back on Thursday for the week 8 preview. And until then, my name is Larry D, and this has been the Bears Talk Underground.